Hello everyone, welcome to a presentation about globalization and cultural convergence. Let me jump straight into the key definitions. And globalization is basically the process by which businesses become international due to the reduction of boundaries and barriers around the globe. And cultural convergence, on the other hand, is the process by which cultures become alike in terms of different factors like sports, technology, food, language, and even politics. So we're here to discuss about the extent to which globalization leads to cultural convergence. And I believe it leads to cultural convergence to a large extent due to these three factors. The first one is the fact that globalization implies a form of cultural imperialism. And this is due to the fact that American and Western cultures have been able to spread around the world so easily due to the thin boundaries that separate us now. And the pop culture and the popularization of media have allowed these cultures to spread on a rapid scale. And another factor that influences this is the fact that brands are so important to culture now. Brands such as fast food restaurants or even daily products that we use, Apple iPhone, have such a great influence on the way culture has for us. And new theories have suggested that cultural flows are no longer one-directional from the Western world to the rest of the regions. Now we see multi-directional cultural flows where influences from Asia have spread to Western countries, where we see great rise of Asian food and Asian popularism as well. So cultural convergence has been greatly influenced by the fact of globalization, reducing the boundaries to which information and values have spread across boundaries.
The English language is one example where we see the extent of globalization on cultural convergence on a global scale. English is now one of the main languages of communication for people across the world. Due to economic realities, a large number of countries have promoted the idea to their citizens that English is essential to learn, and have even gone to include it in their regular school curriculum. It can also be argued that the dominance and success of the Western market has been the main influence in cultural convergence. However, one theory from George Ritz's book Globalisation, The Essentials, in which he discusses the cultural convergence theory, he believes that globalisation is in fact the main cause of cultures becoming more alike. But he also does believe that the local cultures won't just simply die out due to globalisation. And he quotes, while globalisation often overwhelms local realities or at least changes them dramatically, those realities survive one form or another. There are also arguments that globalisation can in fact enhance cultural identity rather than just cause cultural convergence. Many people create their identities through their cultures and are willing to defend their culture. Globalisation can make people much more aware of their cultural identity and the uniqueness of their culture. There are also further arguments that globalisation has not caused cultural convergence and in fact done the exact opposite. Compared to 40 years ago, it can be said there is more distrust and more differences between America and Asia's cultures. In the 50s, Asians viewed America as a model of modernization, but currently Asians view America as not an ideal model. And due to advancements in technology, Asians and Americans can study each other's cultures more clearly and see they have different beliefs.
We've just heard both sides of the arguments, which are globalisation leading to cultural convergence and globalisation not leading to cultural convergence. When thinking about cultural convergence, we have to note that it isn't only about people being exposed to and indulging in other cultures around the world, it's also about this convergence actually having an impact and influencing and changing other cultures. Some see this convergence as being watered down, in terms of watering down cultures and religions. This may not be seen as a very good thing. It's a very negative thing, some people think. On the other hand, cultural convergence in the modern world is seen as a positive thing in terms of awareness for other cultures. It helps to educate the population, and to some extent it could be seen to limiting ignorance. In addition to this, as Tarek said, the multi-directional cultural flows, along with the importance of brands in the modern world, for instance Apple and say McDonald's, they have a great advantage for cultural convergence. So after analysing this first part of the statement in much depth, it is fair to say that there is more evidence for globalisation leading to cultural convergence than there is for this not to be the case. I'll now be moving on to the latter part of the statement, which involves the consequences of cultural convergence in the modern world. The consequences of cultural convergence include issues within trade, migration, and the flow of information. In addition to this, if cultural convergence does deepen in the future, it may negatively affect sacred things in culture, such as religion, marriage, and family. We'll now hear more from both Chloe and Fernando, and they will go into more depth in this matter.
So, onto the issue of how cultural convergence, onto the issue of the consequences of cultural convergence, we look at the numerous forces resulting in cultural convergence. So we have numerous forces like the fall in barriers to information, third wave of democracy, expanding independent journalism, increasing emphasis on freedom of expression, and lastly the lifting of barriers to trade. And this actually forms the premise that it opens the floodgate to American and Western media, which is what Osama said earlier, cultural imperialism. This invoked the fear that it would erode religion, promote the Western ideal of self, diminish respect for marriage and family, result in deference to authority. Have these anticipated consequences actualized? So, analysis of data from the World's Value Survey actually revealed otherwise and says that most values have not been converging over the past 3 decades. Moreover, while economically advanced societies have been changing either rapidly, countries have remained economically stagnant, show relatively little value chain. So we compare the values of countries based on 2 dimensions. Firstly, on circular rationale versus traditional. And secondly, on survival versus self-expression. And following an increase, so how the attitudes amongst the changes in population are also highly correlated with the philosophical, political, and religious ideas existing in the society in the first place. For example, you can see that circular rationale values and materialism were formulated by philosophers and left-wing politics side in the French Revolution. And this can be observed in countries with a long history of social democratic or socialistic policy, and in countries where a large proportion of the population has studied philosophy and science at universities.
And now we'll see the effects of convergence in the business realm, specifically in trade. As we could see, production of goods has increased rapidly. As more people are assimilating and adapting into different cultures, they're more likely to become more gratified by local products, and respectively the production and consumption will increase. For example, in the United States, the emergence of Mexican food is more and more prominent in American culture, and because of it, the demand is increasing and therefore the production is increasing as well. The stages of processing have frequently been separated and relocated to take advantage of labor cost differences between the advanced and developing countries. This is connected to cultural convergence mainly because of migration. The population that stay in the developing country have no choice but to provide cheaper labor in order to maintain a sustainable economy. And now for migration. As previously mentioned, migration is a byproduct of cultural convergence. About 190 million people have immigrated internationally, but this is only at 2.9% of the world's population. But something to notice is that the people that are migrating are usually migrating from third world countries to first world countries. And this constitutes about 10% of the population in first world nations. Like Marston mentioned in his journal, if we're talking about domestic distortions and regulations, in his journal Financial Integration, domestic distortions and regulations may allow some interest rate differentials between countries to persist as a result of constant migration. So this, alongside with the byproduct of migration, will contribute to an impact of wages for the unskilled workers. Again, if you look back at the United States, migration has decreased the wages of unskilled workers. In addition, their living conditions are also worsening, making a really negative combination for this kind of community. Lastly, there are difficulties in assimilation for foreign migrants. Like Jared Adams said, there are problems of culture, language, poverty. All of these are a source of political controversy and raise questions about potential barriers to further international population movements. Regardless of positive or negative outcomes, ultimately, cultural convergence is an inevitable phenomenon that will continue throughout the following decades. Thank you.